Good afternoon to all of you, and seems a difficult session after a heavy lunch, but we will make sure that you all are asking question, then interacting with us. Fantastic panel, and I have interacted with many of the gentlemen here, and they will be enlightening you with their experience, their answer. The theme of today, this panel is fantastic because we know that CISO, cybersecurity leaders, they are evolved either from working on traditionally antivirus, firewall, then EDR, XDR. Now we have many names. Second is the GRC side, audited assessment. They turned into the CISO, cybersecurity leader. Now the question comes that how those people have transformed to a business leader. The business leader is working with the complete CXO layer. So how that role actually evolved, and my first query goes to Harish on this, that looking at the past, the theme from a tech leader, this role getting evolved to a hardcore business leader working with CXO layer in their terminology. How this journey evolved, I want Harish to put his perspective for the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Harish Arora. Thanks to Quanting India for having me here, and Umesh bhai putting such an interesting question in front of me upfront. Right. Yes, I do agree. The role of CISO has undergone a fundamental transformation over a decade. Gone are the days when CISO used to protect and their success used to be measured how well they are protecting like endpoints, firewalls, network, IT, shadow IT, IT assets, risk register, etc. Nowadays, the success used to be measured how you are enabling business as usual, how you are enabling and protecting your line of business, how well you are protecting your operational resilience. So role of CISO has seen a tremendous shift from left to right completely. Nowadays, cybersecurity also influences about customer trust, regulatory compliances, operational resilience, AI adoption, digital transformation, and your brand value. If you are able to protect and you are able to carry all these stuff, yes, you can say you are performing good for the organization. Gone are the days when CISO used to do traditional work. Now, by doing all such resilience sort of work, they earn their seat in the board. Like board is not interesting to know about the technical stuff, about your vulnerability score, about your CVSS scores and all. What all business need is how well you can protect their line of business, how you can enable business growth in a secure environment. Yes, I can say that role of CISO has completely transformed from A to B. Yeah.
Thank you, Harish. It is a full transformation. I would say not A to B, but A to Z, or maybe A to Y or somewhere, so that we cover the whole the spectrum. Now moving to from my left to right, I take Mr. Dipin to add his perspective into this same question, please.
Hello. So first of all, I'm truly honored and grateful to extend this opportunity by Quantic and to be able to share this stage with this esteemed industry peer. So coming back to this discussion, my perspective is that the evolution occurred, as Harish bhai was mentioning, that it is from A to Z. To brief that, CISO is not a person right now who only says that this is telling no to a business plan. He always think of a business, to understand the business, to enable the business, and to bring up the goal and objective of the business. So the transformation from a technical CISO to a business leader is that he knows three languages, that is technology, risk, and the business.
Thank you, Dipin. I'm moving to my now left. So the question goes to Sundar.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, thank you for Quantec India for inviting me to speak on this event. Yeah. So we traditionally say that CISO role been evolved from server room to boardroom, right? So in these days, CISOs cannot highlight the risk just by saying this is vulnerability, like Harish said or Dipin said. It's not only we cannot highlight the risk by saying some threats, vulnerabilities. So we want to say the business impact. What is going to stop the business? So that's the way it's been evolving.
Thanks a lot. Now I'm trying to balance the left and right towards me. So moving to Ankush to add his perspective, his experience on the same question, because this is the theme of the today's panel, and I want that every person sharing the dice with me add their perspective based on their experience.
Thank you, Quantec Forum, for having me here, and thank you, Umesh bhai, for putting this question in front of me. Okay, so I completely align. Like the security leader has been transformed from the technology to business perspective, but it matters like where the leader is interacting. If it is interacting with the vendors, his immediate team, then he has to be technical. That is very much required. Otherwise, he won't be able to deploy the technologies and the new services. But when the moment comes when he has to take the budget approvals, needs to make the understand why that is thing required, that technology is required, he need to portray that message in a very user-friendly, business-friendly language. He cannot use that technical jargons in front of the board and the senior leadership. Otherwise, he won't get any kind of. He need to put all the strategies. He need to put all the roadmap of the cybersecurity. Where is the current, where is the current, basically current strength and the desired state. So you need to keep that state and need to board aligned about the all the things. What this. If I talk about like why it is required for the business to be a business leader, yes, it is very much required, and to be aligned with that business language, and that's my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I am moving to my extreme firewall starting at my left, and then we move to my right side firewall. I am protected actually by these two gentlemen.
Hello. First of all, thank you, Quantec India, and my fellow panelists for this opportunity. Now, what I feel is that maybe this role is evolving, and it has three aspects to it, like moving from being a technology leader to more kind of a business leader, because we have to juggle between not only the technical objectives of the role but also the business opportunities that are involved in this role and associated with the larger interest of the organization. The second point is like moving from being a security leader to a more kind of a resilience manager. So in today's world, it is not only about preventing or stopping the things from happening. That's definitely a benevolent approach to do things, but we have to be proactive and try to be more resilient in our approach. And the last piece is, I would say, from being a security engineer to more of a community leader, because this role is now demanding that we create a unique balance, not only in our daily liaisoning with our boards or with the internal stakeholders within the organization, but also with the external environment, be it the national authorities, governments, our customers, or whosoever are the right stakeholders. So in a nutshell, to me, it's a role which will now require more like a 360-degree view, and it should be like how this role has changed is that we talk more about risk, less about controls, more about risk and the associated business opportunities and how they are getting aligned together.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I move to Mr. Sujoy now to cover up his experience and what is not covered by all these gentlemen. So it is a complementary to ideas now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Umesh, and thank you, Quantic, for having me here. Everyone has covered in a beautiful way the transformation of CISO, and nothing is left, but I want to top it with few views of my. One most important thing is that in current scenario, security can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked in for day one, whatever business solution, whatever IT is giving business solution, it has to be baked, embedded in that solution from the day one. You can't go live and after that think that we have to now implement security to put the guardrails to avoid any data leakage, etc. So this is because this transformation is happening and you have to understand the business, then only you can put the right guardrails in place. Another interesting thing is that when you do any risk assessment in your organization, whether it's for enterprise-wise application or infrastructure or what, you have to do a business impact analysis to understand what kind of business impact if that solution goes down. And it also helps to create the high availability DR side, etc. There also you have to understand business. Then only we will zero down to what is the impact and what kind of additional solution is needed to overcome that impact. So again, a business role plays into this. That's why what people are saying nowadays, the CISO is becoming BISO, Business Information Security Officer. So that at the end, your main core objective of organizations to run the business. It's a business-driven IT, not IT-driven business. So you have to align with your business roadmap, your business priority, so that to put the right solution in right place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sujoy, for complementing it and covering the aspect which is not covered. Maybe it has not come to their experience, but now in totality, with all the gentlemen sitting with me, so we have understood that yes, the role has evolved, but now when this role enters the boardroom, the first foremost question comes is the trust, because the people in the board, they look at the people working on laptop, desktop, server, firewall, EDR, etc. But the fundamental question comes is why they should trust us, that yes, these are business leader, not a technical leader. So I will now request two gentlemen, my left and then right, to share their views, starting with Rajan.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Thank you Quantic and Umesh and my fellow panelists for giving me the chance to speak here. So the question is, as Umesh said, to build the trust. How will you build the trust of the boardroom? Now CISO has entered the boardroom, and the first and foremost thing in a boardroom, you are not a CISO, you are the one who should be able to expand the business, who should support the business. And the people over there, maybe the CFO, CEO or other business owners, they understand the simple language, how I am protected and I want to run the business. So any risk, so earlier we used to showcase the CVs, the vulnerabilities and everything. Now that is not to be shown in the boardrooms. The things which are there to be shown in the boardroom are the risk and how it will impact the business. So we have to be a business enabler rather than probably a showstopper, which were earlier the security roles, working in silos and nobody knows. So how will you build the trust of a particular boardroom? So there are few things I would like to highlight in a quick round. It's in, do not use any technical jargons, be very plain and simple when explaining to the board, and build a relationship with the business people, with the CEO, with the CFO of the line, because in the one boardroom, nobody will give you the trust in one go. So that trust is a journey. Okay, so you need to have a relationship and help the business people in their ongoing projects. Do not say no to any new technology. Do not say no, this is very risky. We cannot implement this in an organization. So no is not the word to be used today. Today you have to support each and everything, and how fast and how quickly you can provide solutions. Even if you are showcasing certain risk or the things which you can impact or which is a major risk to the business, you have to come with the options, come with the solutions to the board. Like these are the two, always come with one or two options to the board so that they can have a choice and see what options and deliverables. And one of the foremost thing one needs to remember, trust is always built if you deliver on your commitments. Okay, maybe if it's a first time, then it may be a bit hard for you, but people remember your past statements. Once you give a solution, don't give solutions in a hurry. Okay, no, this is very risky, this, you implement this AI security, you implement this. Give a thorough thought through and then give the solutions to the board and deliver them so that people build the trust in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajan. I think I am picking few pointers from what you answered or shared your experiences. The one is that don't come with only problem. So have multiple solutions, rather multiple, maybe more than one solution, so that the experienced people sitting in board can choose from. Second, what you said is that don't use the jargon abbreviation which we used to, EDR, ASM, whatnot. So that simplifies the life, and it solves the major issue which is being discussed, is how we as a so-called technical leader are gaining the trust. So now moving to Ayushman to add his perspective that how the trust further can be enhanced so that we establish as a business leader, not as a technical leaders.
So hello everyone, and thanks Quantic India for bringing us here together. So before going to the topic that like why modern CISO required to be act as a business leader, because if we go back and 15 years and see that like at that time there is a IT head and under which the information security manager is working and mostly concerned with the antivirus, firewall, his servers and all those things. Now the time is changed and it is very hard to imagine any organization which is not technology driven. And previously it is like on-prem infrastructure which is mostly in focus and it is easy to manage things. Now it is like things are like spread out, like cloud, people are over the cloud, people are using third parties, people are using managed services, organizations are using, having a multiple presence. So it is now hard to manage, be into the like same CISO roles and saying that like your objective is to implement a security. Now the objective changed to secure the how to run a business securely, in secure way. So this is why now, previously you have seen that like InfoSec was taking the back seat. Now it is like working parallel with the management and having seat, or say that like having seat in a boardroom. So this is the change which is taking place, and we have to like build up a strong team who cater all these requirements. That's all.
Thank you very much. I am moving to my first icebreaker to Harish on the same question, and he can add his perspective that how we as a tech leader are gaining trust into the boardroom to become a business leader.
I would say trust will not be gained only through technical expertise. It has to be a consistent demonstration to the business about the risk, about the business resilience, and how well you can translate a cyber risk into a business risk, into a business language, so that the senior manager or board level guys can understand and take informed decision instead of a technical perfect decision. It has to be informed and discussed decision. So it is a journey. It is a gradual thing. It cannot be built at a single go. Board is not interesting to know about the core vulnerabilities, about 0 days, about the threat vectors or the technical term we use. They are more concerned about the threat exposure of a particular risk, the likelihood to our environment to get exposed to a particular risk we are having. What are the mitigation plans? How long will it take to get it mitigated? Will there be only a governance part to be taken, or there is a monetary thing to be involved? Or how many stakeholders? What would be the impact on front line of the business? How to go about it? So whenever you go to board, don't use those technical jargons. Instead, you try to translate cyber risk into the business risk, into the business language. Whenever you go to board, just explain them about a particular risk with exposure chances, which we call the likelihood, the mitigation plan, the perfect timeline, and ultimate result. So I would say this has to be the way. This is the way how I communicate in the board. This is my personal experience. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Harish, covering. So moving to Ankush to add his viewpoints on gaining trust.
Yeah, okay. So I think most of the points have been covered. So I would like to highlight 3 major points regarding this. When we go in front of board, we should be transparent. The transparency should be a key factor. What's the purpose? What's the problem? What's the goal? What's the basically solution? The different options that we need to keep it very transparent in front of board. They don't want to hear any kind of a technical jargon, that's for sure. We need to wear the business hat. We need to think, we need to have a business mindset for sure. Okay, so transparency is a key factor. We need to understand where are the drawbacks, where are the risks, the current posture of the organization, where we want it to keep, and we need to portray that picture, that how we can deliver that with the commitment. And lastly also I would like to add, they also need to understand their industry reference. Suppose like I am in a manufacturing, they also wanted to understand like what other manufacturing industries are doing. If we are going up with some solutions, the services to mitigate any kind of a risk, how the other sectors are doing in that. So that is also, we are able to gain the trust on that perspective as well. It's the same technology solutions have been used and the risks have been mitigated in the same way. Okay, and last but not the least, we need to understand that it is very difficult to gain the trust, but it is very easy to lose. So we need to keep all the stakeholders in loop, and we need to engage them from the point one, and we need to understand and make them understand that security is paramount. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So the nice perspective you have added onto the table is, one is the transparency. Second is that how my kind of industry is performing into the same areas. Is those 2 different distinct perspective is adding into the kitty of experience. Now we have established from a tech leader to business leader, we have covered the trust aspect. Now my experience is that we build the trust only.
Can I add?
Yes, please.
So everybody said right thing. How to build trust, how to earn trust. Most important thing. So how the things are happening nowadays, people are ready to provide you budget, but they want to understand what this money will give them. So most important thing is report card. Please submit the report card of whatever investment has gone in and what kind of benefit you are getting out of that. That will definitely help to earn the trust. Yes, the solution which my team is implemented, that is giving XYZ advantages and which is helping us to keep our business growth. Second, another important thing is that, which Ankush touched upon, is that gaps. In case you have gap when you submit that report card, please write it proper in a transparent way with timeline that this is the gap still we have, and this is the cost, and this is the timeline to fulfill that gap. That is another important thing, which will again help you to gain the trust. And the last and most important thing, reporting. If in case anything is happening in your organization, immediately report it. Don't hide it. Immediately report it to the concerned stakeholders. That is also going to help you to gain the trust.
Thank you very much. So you add up another dimension, and my curiosity is now more created towards another topic which is coming from all the discussion is, we established business leader, we talked about trust. Now the third dimension important is that what vocabulary, though we have touched upon that we should not use the jargon, but I am covering little different context. What vocabulary we use so that the board understand the risk is not under high, medium, low, but their language. Do we have some metric? I want everyone to share how they are translating the risk of high, medium, low, or vulnerability high, medium, critical, low into the language which they understand. Starting from Harish.
So instead of using high, medium, low, I already said we should present like chances of likelihood. I mean, what are the likelihood to get it exploited in our environment?
Yeah, but
so
you are adding just a probability, but board understand the way money value.
No, I am coming on to this. Whenever you present the likelihood, you should also present about exposure and their impact on revenue, customer trust, business resilience, operational resilience, and your business continuity. In that way, they'll get it understand. I mean, how to fix, how to go about this. Instead of saying this is high, medium, low, they will not care.
Thank you very much, Ayushman. Your views on this?
Yeah. So, how often we seen that like CISO understand the language we speak? Since we live in the technical environment, we talk about CVSS score, threat modeling, APT, and all these things, XDR, EDR. But when it's come to the business management team, they generally talk about the growth, strategy, risk, and all these things. So we have to translate whatever, like for example, like if we are saying that there are 500 critical vulnerabilities which need to be fixed, so this not matter to them. If we frame this into another way, like there is a critical application which is at risk and likelihood of getting exploited is very high, which may impact our critical financial system, which may result into the revenue loss, and later on customer reputation loss. So then they will understand that like what we are trying to say, and this is the language they actually understand.
Thank you. Sundar, I think you wanted to cover the trust as well as the how we are basically communicating the risk into their language. Yeah.
So on the trust part, right? Sorry. So on the trust part, so any CISO, generally we speak only the risk, right? This control is not, that firewall is not, the rules are not configured. So the CISO first should understand from the product perspective what we do as a business, what deliver, what we do, what we are in B2B or B2C, whatever. So what type of service we deliver, what data we handle. So that if we understand that perspective and we start to speak in the boardroom, that gains more trust because this guy knows things, right? Coming back to the translation, right? I will take the same example, Ayushman. So instead of saying the high, medium, low vulnerability, what you said, simply we can say, if this service goes down for an hour, per hour we are at least doing, say, this is an onboarding application. So this onboarding application process 50 onboarding in an hour. If that goes down, 50 onboarding is lost. Eventually there is a revenue loss. So we can translate in a business language, creating a revenue loss, what he exactly mentioned. that creates more value what we are seeing it.
Thank you very much. You covered, but now moving to Rajan on trust as well as the common vocabulary, that how we communicate the risk. Though we have got one perspective, so you can add from your experience the how you have been doing it, or basically coming from your experience of throughout the industry.
Umesh and the audience and the panelists. So as I said, trust is, or explaining the vocabulary needs to be very simple and crisp. What impact it will bring to the business, and how much downtime converted into the revenue or the business loss which the business understands. This will not work if this goes wrong. Be very clear and simple. Don't add anything else into that. Plus, add the mitigation steps if available. What is the fix available? Because people like solutions, they don't like problems. So please be very clear in this, and whatever statement you are giving, just deliver that. If the board trusts you once, don't break that trust. Just deliver the project or the solution you are offering, because one is the investment the company has made, maybe the ROI they will think of later and all that. But if your solution misses or doesn't deliver, so next time in the boardroom you will not win, plus the business will not accept what you are talking about. Maybe you, every time you come, so this is gone back, this is high vulnerability, this and that. So nobody would be much interested, and it would be difficult for you to gain their trust or buy a project or just add value to the business. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajan. So one is whatever you commit, you deliver. Another aspect we got it, that understand your business. If you are in a manufacturing domain, understand that, convert that into the possible loss of revenue. I am moving to Kundu to cover the perspective which is different than what has been stated by the gentleman, that how you have been doing different and what is your experience into trust and the common vocabulary.
Thank you. So I think the first part is already answered by most of my fellow panelists, coming down from a technology language to a more risk language. But what is that risk language? Because a board, what is a board? And I often say in multiple forums that it's very difficult to keep the board on board with respect to cyber. That's a very difficult topic. Now, how we could do that? So how we do it in Schneider is basically four main coordinates. One is the risk to the customers. The second is the business continuity. Third is how we are placed on the compliance aspect. And the fourth one is how we are placed with respect to our intellectual property and associated things. Now, creating that risk register, does it suffice? Sorry, I will take 1.5 minutes. So just creating that risk register, does it suffice? No. Now we need to break this risk register from a cyber aspect into much more granular risks, which actually can be very well aligned with the different business functions. For example, few of the risks allocated to HR, few to finance, few to data privacy, few to data pilferage, and maybe a few of the topics with respect to customer, the customer operations, the customer offer placement, few with respect to our own products and the applications we are producing. Why I am saying so? Because you know the board will only be on board and give you their ears when someone down the line from those functions also talk the same language as you are talking. And now creating these risk registers actually help you in aligning that, because they are also hearing the same tonality which you are going to give in a more KPI and dashboard form. And that is a tangible benefit to that one. Now coming to that, the other aspect that we practice is a very frequent communications, since we are an MNC and we are present across the globe, very frequent communications among our business leaders in the different countries, different localities with the board. By that what I mean is that, okay, maybe in India we have a priorities with business which is separate from that which is there in other parts of the world. Now, how come the board gets aligned to that one and associate the associated risk which I am proposing? This was the second part. The last part of it is, I have created the risk, I am talking about, talking the language of risk, I am aligned with the other line of businesses, functions, and they are also talking the same. But how I put it down, how I drill it down to the bottom management. That is where we practice a thing which is called cyber risk leaders, cybersecurity plant leaders, and whenever we talk about cyber, we try to align it with a particular risk. Let's say I have 5 plants and I am talking about a risk. Now I am not dedicating this risk to a particular plant, rather I am trying to make it more generic and say, okay, this risk is more sort of IT risk. So it goes into the risk registers talking about tech debt or obsolescence or IT and its infrastructure. And now what happens is, when we take individual cyber objectives in this way, the concerned IT leader, it might be the CIO or whosoever it is very well aware how things are grooming up from the bottom. And I feel that's the best way to reach out to the board, because when we are reaching out to the board, it almost feels like the board has already done the homework. We are trying to make an amplified request or amplified more data-oriented presentations to them, and I feel that's the best way to reach out to the board.
Thank you, and I am really excited to understand this perspective. So you touch upon one is compliance, because the board understand compliance risk very well because it is generic, and with DPDPA the compliance risk is linked with money value. So that is one aspect you have covered beautifully. Second is that plain risk register is broken down to the atomic level so that we can establish the accountability even plant wise, division wise. So fantastic perspective. So trust, we discuss how we create trust using the common. Now coming back, certain decision we give option to the board for them to take, as one idea came that don't come with the problem but then come with multiple options. Now I am talking about certain decision which is taken at CISO level, and question is, in your experience, when it is trade-off between performance, security, talent, budget constraint, what tough decision your experience you have been taking? I'll start with you, Kundu, giving your perspective, and then we'll move to Sujoy. My left and right side want to balance also.
So, I mean, it's a kind of a game where we always take a few tough decisions, but obviously I would say that obsession should be visibility, because without the visibility any kind of decisions might be kind of like not very aligned one. Second is the business prioritization. So it's all about the business. I mean, Rajan was mentioning that how what is our business, and you were mentioning about understanding your products. So these are always kind of, means very tough decisions, but tough decisions I often make in multiple forums when I speak about a topic. That what is a tough decision? Is it a decision to jump from point A to point B? So moving from point A to point B can be infinite number of paths. Should I jump from point A to point B? That's more like ticking the radio buttons. Or should I do a continual cybersecurity posture enhancement towards resilience, so that even while walking from point A to point B, whatever path I may take, if there is a sudden dose coming from as the form of bitter medicine as compliance or something, I am ready to accept that, because I have matured in a sense. that even small tweaks here and there will make me compliant to the needs. Now, that's one thing. And then obviously, the tough decisions are understanding the frameworks, not imitating technology, adapting it just for the sake of adapting it. That's the wrong way of doing things, because that's, we are in, okay, this thing is now in town, let's adapt this one. So faking technology is another very difficult decision. One decision, before I pass it on to the other fellow panels, is definitely I feel that although there is a huge amount of talent coming out, but what I really feel is that there is real shortage of talent, so to speak, in the real need. So that's another point of challenge, because the moment we talk about the nuances, we talk about the real need from the people, we find that although there is a huge pool of talent, but we find very few people coming up to mark.
So talent topic I will touch upon, but let me just quickly go through this tough decision, because in tough decision, one is accepting the risk at CISO level. So moving to Dipin, that in your experience, when it comes to tough decision, risk acceptance, because some risk you accept at your level, which is under your kitty, rather than taking to the board at the first level. So what has been your experience in budget trade-off? Talent, yes, but we will discuss that in a follow-up question. Over to you.
So the key word here is the risk. We generally coin this word with a different context. When we talk about cybersecurity, the risk is always to be eliminated or to be eradicated. But when it comes to a business context, it is to be managed. So this, the expectation from a CISO is not to not as a risk eliminator, but as a risk decision facilitator. So for that purpose, he has to understand. When we are entering into a boardroom, we should not be entering as a security leader, but as a business leader. Why? Because business is having multiple risks, and cybersecurity is only one objective of that entire scope of that risk. So you have to understand. You have to understand what all are the risk and what all are the business impact of various risks the business is facing, and you have to justify your own risk of cybersecurity to stand upfront and to address that. That's the way how you will be converting a cybersecurity expenditure to a cybersecurity business decision. Because for that purpose you have to understand. For example, from my organization, I am into a manufacturing organization industry. That to a defense industry. A risk for our organization is not only to the IT or cybersecurity, but again a single risk can affect the national security, manufacturing process security, IP, intellectual property. These are the risks which are concerning more to the business than a small cybersecurity risk. So you have to understand your risk, convert it into a business impact, and then evaluate what all operational, what all financial, what all reputational stakes are there, what impacts are there, and then convert it into a decision with some options and some recommendations.
Thank you very much. So basically we convert risk, the decision making, and then giving a trade-off and giving the option which has been stated. Then we are connecting the dots. Kundu has added one input which I am connecting the dots is the visibility. So when I put everything into perspective, we see the risk, we understand the domain, we give the visibility based on the decision or trade-off we as a CISO doing. When we say visibility, that means immediately we are creating a feedback loop saying that this decision is resulting into this either positive or negative for the industry, right? I am moving to Sujoy to add up his perspective on the trust, then trade-off, mixing everything. I am trying to, you draw a conclusion connecting all the dots with your experience. Top up your experience.
We talked about trust, how to build trust, how to gain trust from all concerned stakeholders, whether it's the board members or management or the functional heads. So for that you have to be very transparent, you have to submit your report card, you have to submit whatever investment you have done till date and what kind of outcome you are getting. Those will definitely going to help you, and that will create trust, that which I said little back. Another thing which you talked about in last question is that communication, how to communicate. See, all these reports, all these methods are also used for to communicate what is the security posture you have, what kind of gap, and what is the cost and timeline for fulfilling those gap. But on top of that, फिर भी इंसान घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर हो जाता है कभी कभी. On top of that, there are third-party audits, which is at least in our manufacturing domain, is important, and you have to take that third-party audits before signing the balance sheet or what. So that is also a validation of your report card, and if it matches the same, that will also help you to gain the trust, and that is another way to communicate the board. So because the third party, in some cases, the people more depend on, because they are your auditor, and it's a part of the SEBI norms which you have to follow. Coming back to what you talked about, this
trade-off, the tough decisions, the tough decision trade-off.
Tough decision is very important, especially in the manufacturing sector, because you are dealing with a lot of equipments also, which is not a standalone equipment, which is connected equipments, whether it's connected through OT or IoT. But those OEMs are not able to keep pace with the kind of risk is growing on day by day. That is the most important challenge, at least in our manufacturing domain, people are facing, to how to create a workaround to shield them, to guardrail to avoid any unwanted shutdowns or any kind of issues, which is again having a directly impact to your production and to your line of business. So that is one of the important thing, create that risk appetite by having work around till the OEM manufacturing is coming to place, or you are phasing out the equipment. Equipment phasing is very tough because it is a huge budget which is required. Unless that machine is not at par to your business growth, at par to your roadmap, management don't want to phase it out. In case it is not living up to your growth, then people can take, or it is out of support, nobody is there to support, then only action is taken. So most critical decision, most challenging decision is to create that business risk appetite in your organization.
So appetite is another aspect where the really trade-off happens. I think Rajan wants to add up his perspective into the same.
Yeah, I would just like to add from the risk appetite or the point we are talking about, there are certain situations where you analyze investment is too high or the business risk, but the question here is, as a CISO, what we can trade off. So at certain point in time, I'll give you a live example. There are, you can say, direct accesses given to the teams in case of any exigencies or issues, and they can bypass the traditional PIM-PAM solutions in case there is certain disaster for a faster access and making the business up as early as possible. Now, where that nobody would allow you to bypass the system as per the policy, or if you ask the board or if you ask anyone. But one thing is, you have to run the business, and the people and even the companies have third-party employees running under them. So people don't do any mischief, or probably don't do any misconfigurations, or don't do anything wrong. You deploy systems like PIM-PAM. But we gave the access and we have made the provisions for direct access in case of any disasters or issues, and we have deployed the countermeasures to track it. Every day or we have implemented the alerts in the firewall. Whenever there is any direct access, we get notified immediately. So probably we have implemented a mitigation step as well as to counter the risk which we have created or accepted at our level. So such solutions you should also think of wherever you don't want immediate investments or you are not finding anything, but deploy certain manual steps or certain scripts or anything which you can deploy at your level to accept the risk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajan. I think now I am picking two threads of what Sujay said about legacy application. They are not keeping with the pace, and then what Rajan says is misconfiguration and rules setup and all that. Now, the common input from these two examples are the skill set. Now, skill set I define CISO as having a direct reports. So one skill set, one set of people. Second is the people who are operating as a third party or partner resource, again the skill set, another dimension. Third is for manufacturing domain, where we are operating legacy system machine, whether they are keeping operating system at pace, another set of again skill set. Now this question is to all gentlemen. We can start with Kundu. Common problem is scarcity of the resource or the skill set. How you are tackling these three dimension? If any one of all are applicable or one is applicable, you can choose all dimension, please.
So, yeah, I think very rightly put by you that there is a severe scarcity of the skills in the different aspect. I would love to talk a little bit about supply chain, means the different nuances that are there with respect to the skill set of the supply chain. First of all, understanding the sustainability posture of the supply chain, because we are into a world which is more and more polarized and in pockets. The second part is how we can really ensure that the skill set is at the right level with our suppliers. And be it a direct procurement, indirect procurement, and coming from a manufacturing industry, it's always very difficult that what your bill of material comprises of both forward and backward integration will be number of supply chain components to it. So there are ways of doing it, and there are we have some frameworks through which we achieve it. Understanding the critical suppliers, the skill set of the critical suppliers, the high, medium, and the low suppliers. Also understanding what functions they are catering to, like is it a finance function, or is it like a procurement process, day in, day out kind, or is it like into the product. The other aspect also is trying to understand the skill set within the environment, as we have said that the CISO and the reporting structure and subsequently down the line. I think here one of the thing I want to definitely mention and say is that in the people process technology, we generally consider people as the weakest link, and that's where the skill set question comes. Now, can we take it in the other way, like making the people the strongest link in the chain? Now, if we think of that model, what happens is we see that other than your security controls and automations, which will trigger alerts for you, give you more visibility, it's now the people who becomes transducers, and they also start giving you alerts and visibility. So again, that's where the importance of the skill set is. And if the individuals are not only skillful in cybersecurity, but rather skillful in understanding the nuances of cybersecurity for their particular function, is where the more importance is. I definitely don't want to train a finance person on cybersecurity the same way I want to train an HR person on cybersecurity, because the data components is completely different. The way they manage people is completely different. Yeah. I would stop there and leave the rest for others to explain.
Moving to Ankkush, my role is to balance. Because I'm in center, 4 people here, 4 people here. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I do believe that people is the strongest link, and if we talk about the skill set, yes, definitely that is very much required, and that's a scarcity as well. But at the same time, we need to think that the cybersecurity information field is evolving day by day. You cannot expect that you can get a resource who is expertise in compliance and AI security and the other as technology. So definitely at the same time, you need to see and you need to groom them. You need to take a budget to basically for the learning and development. You need to put them with the vendors and so that they can learn. We need to ensure that they'll not only like, we need to think from that level that you need to keep their CV heavy basically so that they will be industry ready. And when they have to leave, they have to leave. Okay, and money definitely matters a lot, but at the same time, the young generations are fusing in, and they have a lot of other expectations. They wanted to learn each day, every day, like they wanted to have a productive day, and they wanted to learn new technologies. So we need to keep that thing in mind. Okay, and I think that's my point of view. Like we need to keep them engaged, and we need to see from the learning and development perspective. Yeah.
So thank you. So Harish, your perspective on CISO's direct report, partner resource, and legacy, the people who are outside not keeping with the pace, OT/IT part, if that applicable.
So I'll keep it short. You ask about the retention of the skill set, the right people at right place. Like, so as per my experience, people stayed where they felt valued, honored, challenged, and given equal opportunity to perform. So while keeping all these three aspects in mind, we have created a culture where we are giving them equal opportunity by assigning them a particular task with task ownership. We have created a culture where their mistakes cannot be used to penalize them in any sort of manner. Rather, it has to be taken as a lesson to improve further. We are engaging them on security conferences, training, product trainings to keep them motivated. What I think is motivated and engaged team will always outperform a large but disengaged team. This is my view. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So Rajan.
So as you're talking about resource, retention, manpower, and the skill set, which is very fast moving, seeing the opportunities and the technologies available. So one is your strategy. What is your strategy? So maybe as in manufacturing, as in my current technology role, so I keep a strategy as the planning part to be with me and my team, and then probably the execution part to be very vendor oriented or to be outsourced, so that I am not stuck in the middle of any of the projects. Okay, and always I have one or two guys as a trainees and all available, and I keep my team involved in every phases, maybe it budgeting, maybe, so they involve what is there happening and what is how they can grow further. You need to go give them the path. Plus we are open and anyone can give the inputs. No one is role restricted, like you cannot do this, you cannot do this, your job is limited to this. So involve them more and more in the planning phase, and so that they know all the steps, and keep execution to be more or less outsourced. That would help you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. So the summary from current discussion, I just sum up point, then I'll open for other gentlemen to contribute. One is person should be felt valuable, he has to be challenged. Another perspective we got is that supply chain perspective from Kundu ji, and Rajan added that they should be part of the early planning so that they feel valuable, so which is connecting what Harish also said it. So moving to Sundar to put his perspective for talent part, either partner or your own devotee.
Okay, so from talent part, all my journey was with startups and little grown companies, mid-scale companies. So I would say from two perspective, from the resource perspective, they want to understand what they are doing and why they are doing. That is most important. Just you cannot follow the book like a SOP, right? Yeah, we want to follow the SOP. I'm saying in the activities. So from the leadership perspective, we want to give the roles, and the resource should be versatile to take any role. It's not I hire a risk analyst and he will not do an compliance or audit support. So these two parts are there. And from outsourcing perspective, I have a little different opinion. Outsourcing, I mean, taking an outsourced employees like MSSD model or something, it's going to give a business delivery. It's not going to protect the business interest. The purpose of cybersecurity is to protect the business interest. So this is my take. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Dipin, you want to add, and then we move to Sujoy for.
I just wanted to add an experience. Before commencing my career in corporate, I was with Ministry of Defense for 20 years. So there I was given a task of handling a digital forensics lab. That was the first lab in Indian Air Force. And as we all know, there is no separate cadre for digitally forensics experienced or skilled manpower in any defense forces. So how to start with that? So exactly, the skill comes in, but we don't have the skill within that organization. How to build that then? So the best example or best thing which we put in is that make a process within the organization so as to build the required skill. That example can be compared to a manufacturing organization who is placed outskirts like Bhubaneswar or some places like Odisha and all, wherein you will not get a skilled manpower there. But in Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, you will be having a plenty of skilled manpower. So how to maintain that skill there? So you should also have a process-oriented and OJT type of thing so that you can induct a person and can build up the skill. That will include all ownership, as Sir was mentioning, that ownership is to be there, capability building is to be there, purpose. They should be mentored that their work, how the organization matters with their work. So these flow should be there within the organization so as to understand how we can build the skill and how we can bring in the skill.
Thank you very much. So building the skill and building and then bringing in the skill. So I request Sujoy, time's up, so 1 minute for you.
So this is an interesting thing. In every forum people talk about skill. But only problem is how to build that skill. So what we practice, what I have practicing from last 3 decades of my career is that create a SOP on tunnel development, which has to be which has to be linked with the learning management, and that learning management has to be aligned with your whatever information security roadmap you have in tandem with your business growth, business roadmap. So most important thing is that follow that. People create those learning management system, talent development SOPs, etc. But they somewhere something happens and it is missed out. That it has to be also linked with the appraisal system so that people are serious on that. And another interesting thing is that don't leave the third party who is also your extended arm for day-to-day operation. You have to be also responsible for their learning also, and it has to be part of with their agreement. Whatever, if you can build a commercial model onto that, you should do that, but don't miss them out. Otherwise, one side you have a strongest link, other side that weakest link, and create the what he said supply chain problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank Team Quantic for creating this platform. Many thanks to the partner who are sponsoring this event. Many thanks to the audience, and thanks to my fellow panelists. Over to Team Quantic.